Dig Deep, the Psycho-Spiritual Handbook of Befriending Your Best Self Through the 5x5 Side-by-Side Guide by Marcus A. Banks-Bey, MDiv. Narrated by the author. Acknowledgements. To my familial unity, my father, my prototype, an inspiring man who told me to write a book. My mother, the woman who never gave up on herself or her family. My siblings, who each have taught me valuable lessons. My children, Mariama, Naila, Marcus II, who are my motivation and gave me strength to realize my creative purpose. My wife, for her love, compassion, and belief in my strength as a man, father, and husband. Every member of humanity experiencing this human condition, not only is there hope, but you also exist because of it. And an extension of peace, gratitude, and honors to the masters of old and new, in flesh and in the hereafter. Each one, reach one, teach one. Dedication to Iverson Sr. and Iverson Jr., the two men who taught me how to fight for a life worth living. Forward. My initial contact with Marcus A. Banks-Bey, MDiv, was at California Southern University as faculty professor in one of his graduate psychology courses, working towards the completion of his psychology degree in clinical psychology. Our initial meeting led to further contact, resulting in what will surely become a long-term friendship. Marcus is not only academically gifted, but also an extremely engaging person who loves the pursuit of, quote, thinking outside of the box, relative to most, thereby, quote, pushing himself deeply into the unknown to pursue his purpose and focus in life, in support of all those individuals around him. He has a comprehensive, eclectic, and gifted level of experience, ranging from faith-based approaches to academic to military service to mental health care to the sciences to being extremely family-oriented. Marcus's book, Dig Deep, the Psycho-Spiritual Handbook of Befriending Your Best Self Through the 5x5 Side-by-Side Guide, truly focuses on how we all must dig deep relative to our existence and, in addition, explore and assess our purpose in life. Relative to my 10 degrees spanning the disciplines of clinical psychology to the physical sciences to management and business to human relations to professional development and counseling, I always love the eclectic infusion of the physical and biological human sciences with faith-based approaches. Marcus truly encourages his reader to consider a broad-based, eclectic, and multidisciplinary focus through his exploration into the inclusion of quantum entanglement theory. Through his approach, Marcus challenges his reader to intelligently question their past belief system and future direction of thought and identity in developing their own personal reality for establishing their, quote, true identity. Throughout his groundbreaking proposals and considerations, Marcus continuously challenges his reader to, quote, tap, harness, and tactfully address, investigate, and assess their current belief system by understanding the only person who can stop you from becoming a truly rewarded, gifted, and accomplished individual in life is you. To paraphrase one of Marcus's great inward-focused quotes, the only person who can truly answer their specifically derived questions concerning their purpose in life is you. By expanding and growing your awareness of self-discovery and focus and dig deep to engage your life 5x5 and side by side. Marcus, thank you for a truly engaging, eclectic, and multidisciplinary approach to force us to question our existence, thereby seeking to correct answers to our purpose on this earth and the universe, as we progress through our respective lifespans of development. Marcus, I wish you all the best in all your current and future endeavors. Marcus, I wish you all the best in all your current and future endeavors. Dr. John Q. Belt, Doctor of Business Administration, Doctorate of Clinical Psychology, Faculty Professor, California Southern University, Schools of Behavioral Sciences, Business and Management and Education, Costa Mesa, California. Introduction. First, I would like to extend gratitude to you, the reader, for how far you have come and the efforts you have placed toward your own self-improvement. This book has been a fantastic and revealing journey, and more importantly, a gift for me to receive and be able to offer to you. It is my belief that divine purpose has led you here, however that path may have looked for you to have received this gift. Absorb the words in this reading with disciplined intent, because you were led here, not because of what this book has to offer, but rather because of what you have to offer yourself, your lover, your family, and humanity. Let me explain by first informing you of what this book is and what this book is not. This book is not a diagnostic tool or manual for exploring mental illness, disorders, or addictions. This book is not deeply rooted in Western psychology, Eastern philosophy, or entirely seated in ancient African cosmology, spirituality, mental transmutation, or mindfulness, as it is a holistic culmination of them all. This book is not full of academic verbiage, but rather is written for the layperson and scholar alike. This book is a blend of experience, academia, reason, and rationale, written to provide you, the reader, with a holistic viewpoint of what it means to be a member of humanity, with our collective human condition, and actively transcending time and space on an inward journey toward the great seat of the Creator which dwells within you. While you read, you will be invited to engage in what are called focus moments. These will be periods within the reading when you will be challenged to be more introspective to support the growth of your own awareness. Thus, quietly meditate upon these portions of the reading repeatedly if necessary. Do this with an open mind, heart, and spirit, because those moments and many more may certainly have an impact upon all those portions of your being. Your center core and mental comforts may be pushed in a manner that has been unfamiliar to you. A suggested method before each time you engage in this reading is to take a moment to close your eyes, breathe deeply, and calm that space between your ears of all the mental chatter, gossip, the fear, the self-doubt, and the worry that you may have been used to experiencing. You will be inspired to cease that which you have been programmed to do, which is give in to your internal self-deprecating enemy and be defeated once again by the negative aspect of your suggestive mind, ceasing to give up on your goals, your dreams, and your visions. This book is a tool, and when used properly will guide you through the introspective, dig deep process, which may present as challenges to you, the reader. However, those challenges will support your growth through higher levels of identity and awareness so that you may bring yourself to the doorstep of the 5x5 side-by-side guide of increasing your life's focus for the sake of your own posterity. Your confidence and your self-discipline are key to framing the negative perceptions of who you have believed yourself to be. The methods herein have been designed to help you look deep within, toward a time prior to your conception, on into a higher sense of identity, where you will find yourself peering into the vastness of the universe, not externally, but rather into an everlasting and interconnected innerverse, to that great seat of mystery which has dwelled within, even prior to the fashioning of your flesh, blood, and bone, as a lingering quirk, according to the theories of quantum mechanics, such as entanglement theory, which is essentially the science that corresponds with spirituality. Growth is slow, and at times a series of painful experiences, similar to the infant who constantly cries, whines, and seeks comfort from their protective parents as their bones expand, muscles tear, and teeth forcefully push through the flesh of their gums because of a natural process that is out of their control, yet all necessary to fully develop through adolescence into healthy adulthood. There is no other life-altering event and opportunity for my own growth than when my family experienced the loss of my brother to suicide. Thus, in this book, to dig deep is what you will be offered, and the 5x5 side-by-side guide of focused and prosperity life is what you will learn to cultivate. The difficult years following my brother's suicide were experienced like another incapacitated lifetime. After much support and using a series of holistic techniques, I developed the purposeful plan to cultivate the patience and have the persistent perseverance to continuously nurture the relationships I have with my faith, family, friends, fitness, and finances. And with this focused foundation, I found a way to grow triumphant over an overshadowed sense of self-worth, depression, anxiety, and trauma-related symptoms, suicidal thoughts, and isolating behaviors. Finding healthy ways to confront my thoughts and feelings and growing into my own awareness has allowed me to engage in a continuous process of restoration and recovery and healthily apply those strengths to support individuals in mental, spiritual, and life crises as a county psychiatric mental health worker, military and hospital chaplain, nonprofit program manager, and now founder of Life Ambassadors International, LLC. Thus, education, experience helping dozens with suicide intervention, and formulating the process of learning how to dig deep are the skills I bring to help the reader and those I counsel through this journey of self-discovery. In the chapters that follow, you will be challenged to reflect upon yourself and the ways you have been taught to perceive what you believe to be your identity, and thus your corresponding realities. However, keep in mind that with any challenge there will be doubt, fear, and the presentation of the very real and perceived obstacles that accompany them. The need for your continued self-expansion is necessary for growth, and the fear will be the ever more present obstacle you will continue to face as you are embarking upon that which you believe is unknown. Rest assured, however, what you believe to be unknown is simply a lack of awareness, like the silent stream that lies in the shadows of the unlit ravine, which can easily be found by the thirsty traveler if they would only stop walking and listen to their surroundings, rather than the repetitive attempts of their complaining mind reminding them of their awful thirst. You will be encouraged to embrace both the falsehoods of fear and doubt as merely projections of your consciousness and step beyond them into your self-identity. You will be encouraged to embrace both the falsehoods of fear and doubt as merely projections of your consciousness and step beyond them into your self-identity, the person who holds the potential of the universe, waiting to be tapped, harnessed, and tactfully unleashed upon yourself. You will have to accept that it is you who has stopped you from being who you truly are. You are your own perpetrator, victim, and chosen savior. You are the only individual whom you have spent every constant waking and non-waking moment with, yet still rely upon others to be told who you believe yourself to be. Why is it this way? Why is it this way? Why is it this way? Why is it that hearing that you are beautiful, you are handsome, you are smart, you are patient, you are powerful, you are great, matters more if coming from someone else rather than from yourself? With this journey, these questions can and will only be answered by you as you grow into an awareness through self-discovery after you finally dig deep. Chapter 1. The Side-by-Side Guide. Standing beside yourself. Why wait for someone else to see you when you look into your own eyes daily? Take a moment to imagine your idea of the perfect person. Who does he or she look like? What do they do for a living? What have they accomplished? Have you seen anyone in public or in person that, if you could just do what they have done, or have what they have, that your life would be perfect? Have you gotten a good mental picture of this person yet? Yes? Good. Now, how much of you occupies that picture? Or did you envision someone else's face, body, car, job, house, intellect, or life? If you've answered this question with anyone other than yourself in mind, then you truly may be your own worst enemy. Why do I say this? Because based on your thought process, mental imaginings, you believe that by not being you, your life would in some way improve. Focus moment. Who convinced you that your life is not worth living? That happiness is not to be held by you? That happiness seems so impossible or out of your reach? If you are honest, you have convinced yourself of these false perceptions. You have owned these falsehoods which you may have initially heard from some other source, whether they be multimedia, negative peers, or even relatives, and unfortunately, you have chosen to let it become your living truth. Every moment of your life, you are inching toward the end of your life, as near or as far as that may be. Your life, as your conscious physical body, only exists for a set number of years, the most being 122 years as of 2016. So why waste your time imagining escaping this great gift called your life? It clearly is an offer that lasts for only a limited time. And with this metaphor, the seat of your conscious awareness is the operator who is standing by, awaiting your call. Every person on this planet is on a quest of discovery. In the depths of our being, we are in search of something, many knowingly, yet most unknowingly. We are on a journey to achieve self-discovery, meaning, and purpose. Self-discovery is the method in which the individual comes to reveal the nature of themselves, their abilities, their identity, and if they're fortunate, their purpose. If you are a traveler, and I will assume that you are traveling in search of something by evidence of you reading this book, you should ask, don't I already know myself? Well, as mentioned before, you are the only person who has spent every waking and non-waking moment with you, as every other sentient being on this earth has. And with this thought in mind, you would be amazed how many members of humanity don't know themselves or have ever gone so far as to ask, who am I? The irony of life is that if you are not aware of the proper questions to ask, you will not get the answers that you are in search of. But with the question, who am I, comes a secondary question, who is me? And the tertiary question, who are you? And dare we ask, who are we? Just imagine if you were to go to any family member or friend and you were to ask, who are we? They would probably say something like, we who? And eventually leave the conversation, rolling their eyes and convincing themselves of the belief of you finally having lost your mind. But without this fear response, ask yourself, focus moment, who am I? Who am I? Acknowledge the present self. Now ask yourself, what are you? You is that spark of existence, the constant, unaltered portion of your being. Do you notice the exchange? How can you both be subject and object, the sender and receiver, the player and the watcher? Now ask yourself, who are we? Do you notice what just happened there? If you did not get an unfamiliar yet inviting internal response, try it again. And do it again until you are revealed. This you is what is at times called the threefold self, your own personal trinity, an energy that sits at the center of your solar plexus. What you feel is a portion of the Creator that dwells within you, the great seat of power that was once separated as egg and sperm, mother and father, grandfather, grandmother, and so on, as far back as millions of years, but now merged into one being, you. You existed as a consciousness, even as a sperm which was ejected from your father and raised purposefully, faster, stronger, and more determined than hundreds of millions of others to survive, thrive, and grow. This survival, this need to thrive and grow, is a primal energy that still exists within you. Thus, think how comical it is and worth mentioning how many in our spiteful adolescence muttered to themselves, I never asked to be born. how very true this statement is, because you did not ask to be born. You demanded it. You come from a great lineage, tracing as far back as when all life originated within the depths of the oceans, on even further to a place and time that is more concealed by Western curriculums. And, without getting too far into the evolution, creation, scientific, and theological debates, or being consumed by our own fears and possibly damaged egos, or even worse, being engulfed by the fear that what we learned as children about God, Allah, Jehovah, Yahweh, Vishnu, etc., man and life may not be helping us succeed. Insert dramatic music here. Instead of fear stopping us, let's play pretend and invite our childhood self into this part of the conversation. And imagine you are not merely human, but rather a tad bit more supreme and have forgotten your supreme ways. A supreme being who, over a course of thousands of years, was led to believe through fear, fantasy, fictions, and fables that you were less than divine and needed to continue to seek some place called heaven, nirvana, or paradise, a place that is unattainable to the breathing and living, and thus must die to meet that which you are connected to at every waking and non-waking moment, your Creator. Liking the game so far? If you're honest, probably not. Why? Because it is causing you to push against your perceptions, your comforts, your beliefs, sense of identity, your life's paradigm, and the portion of your ego that likes to feel reassured of being right as much as it can. You are being challenged to erase the fantasies that convince you that greatness comes in the ability to fly, or bending objects with your mind, turning invisible, running at super speeds, walking on water, feeding thousands with one loaf, or fighting an entire army with one sword. Abandoning the fairy tale thinking is the first step toward being able to also abandon the belief that greatness cannot or will not ever look like you. So let us redefine greatness. Focus moment. Greatness is you. You have accomplished so much. You have produced results. You have met milestones. You have completed goals, learned from others, and taught so many. What makes you unique? Your ability to think, plan, imagine, and create by fashioning your life based upon a series of mental pictures or perceptions of them, goals in mind, and working towards them or away from them. What other sentient being on this planet is self-aware, has an imagination, and is able to take a thought and turn it into something physically tangible? And it all be done not out of sheer instinct like nest builders such as birds, bees, and beavers. You do these things, but you do them consciously and unconsciously, to your benefit at times and to your detriment at others. So becoming conscious and more aware is key to fashioning your life to reflect the mental pictures that consume or are shaped by your mind at any given time. Thus, the first step to reshaping your reality is by becoming more conscious of your consciousness. You must begin by identifying your consciousness by affirming it. So, are you in there? Let us see by digging deep, shall we? Consciousness is universal, an area or seat of great happenings, which when accessed consciously reveals a realm of where you and your Creator are fused and are inseparable. Consider your thoughts. Are they consciousness? Would you continue to exist regardless of whether your mind was filled with thoughts of emptiness? Thus, consciousness is so great that it exists with or without your will, as the world and universe will continue to do. You can willfully access consciousness, however, with the focusing and attentiveness of your awareness. Consider your heart, cell creation or cell destruction. How do these things take place within so many biological beings and without thought applied to them? How? Because of consciousness. How often do you think about your heartbeat or your digestive process, your endocrine system, or hormone distribution? You don't. Because there is already something taking place within and around you that is exclusive of your thoughts. Tapping into this reservoir of energy, however, is what happens once one focuses their awareness on to any specific task, function, or experience. The great musical masters, orators, martial artists, builders of the world, and other great quote-unquote doers have all mastered their craft by mastering the attentiveness of their focused energy, accessing the great consciousness of the universe. Can you say, I am great, or we are great? Yes? Now say it with conviction. We are great. Remember, before you were even born, the single you out of millions beat impossible odds by persevering and navigating a hostile environment, fraternal you, and achieved your goal of fertilizing the patient traveler, egg, maternal you, achieving completeness and growing into something complex and greater. But as yourself in this day and time, are you still doing that? Focus moment. Are you still on that great path, defeating the odds out of millions, even billions, and accomplishing a goal of growth? I'll let you take a moment to answer that. Hint, you're alive. So stay focused on that fact with purpose in mind. So who are you? You have a mother and a father, a place of birth, likes, dislikes, passions, desires, feelings, and emotions, correct? Yet do any of these supposed identifiers have any bearing on who you really are? Did your consciousness not exist prior to the fusion of spermatozoa and zygote? Let's dig deeper. You have a mother, but are you your mother? You are made up of a portion of your mother, yes? You were fashioned from determination and a conscious dwelling in the dark womb of your mother, growing and awaiting birth. And so you were born, but you do not remember how great you truly are? Could it be because you were bombarded and plagued by illusions as a child? One illusion being that, quote unquote, greatness is something that dwells outside of yourself, be it in another person, another place, another thing, another being that is separate from you. Through oversaturation of music, movies, and media, you were and continue to be led to believe that you seek or should seek to attain in life exists somewhere out in the city, country, world, or universe, and not within. Please understand that the only invitation extended with these ideas is to increase one's awareness of the omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient reality of the Creator. And what is being suggested is that as members of the human condition, we invite ourselves to be inlookers as an onlooker would be from the perspective of that creative source. Thus, it is being encouraged that you begin to become more aware of your true self and integrate into your theology, whether that be Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, etc., spirituality, psychology, scientific discovery, i.e. quantum entanglement, or absence thereof, the reality that you and what created you were never separated, and thus are present simultaneously, or simply that a portion of the Creator dwells within you and always has. Hence, we, quote unquote, which is an internal, ever-connected living consciousness, exists as you, inside you, standing, quote unquote, beside you, never separated from you. The fusion of consciousness and conscientiousness, not a dual personality, but rather a constant ability to observe, interact with, or change your internal and external realities, thus creating that which you will, whether the results be positive or negative. Focus moment. And by digging deeper, you will come to realize an even more profound reality that if you and your Creator were never separated, then all members of humanity are also connected to their Creator, and thus humanity is one. So what is this internal awareness? And how do you grow into it towards self-discovery? Well, internal awareness is an ever-constant process of personal review and life experience. It is not meant in a sense of job performance, but rather deep questioning or introspection at any given moment of your personal feelings and responses in relation to your internal and external observations. With certainty, it can be said that a phrase, term, or mentioning above caused the stir within. Something that touched a portion of your being that elicited an emotional response. Did you pay attention to it? Did you discard it? Did you even respond by putting the book down, or in this case, the audiobook? Did you stop it for a moment as you process what you read or heard? If you cannot recall, then travel back to that point and read or listen to it again and begin that self-work. What was brought to your awareness? What feelings were present and what response did you have? All these questions are essential as you dig deeper toward befriending this portion of yourself that you have been unconsciously aware of for a larger portion of your life, if not your entire life. Say, for instance, you're a non-religious person as a result of an event in your life that made you question the presence of the divine. Say, for instance, you're a non-religious person as a result of an event in your life that made you question the presence of the divine. Something that you read above may have triggered a memory or feeling from an experience that you had when you were younger, such as in the case of a trauma response. An individual who has PTSD, when triggered, mentally and emotionally returns to the trauma-related event and has the same response of when that event occurred, regardless of how many years removed from the event they are. They have the same anxious, fearful, combative, or repulsive, etc. response of when they were physically, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally wounded. Though it may not be a trauma-related response, the emotions that we have come to recognize as a part of our identity are in fact lingering responses from unresolved emotional issues stemming from previous experiences from a long time ago. This reality we will explore later. But as of now, the awareness of the response is more important as it can be brought to the forefront of our consciousness, rather than it lingering in the subconscious and thus remaining as portions of ourselves that we have yet to identify, befriend, and thus lack relative control over. Stepping into an awareness of our emotions is critical, and a way of doing such is to simply ask ourselves, why am I bothered? And, or, what portion of me is attempting to express itself or thus willfully create? Integrating this practice into our conscious awareness will help us begin to catch those negative or troubling thought patterns. Integrating this practice into our conscious awareness will help us begin to catch those negative or troubling thought patterns that lead us to have emotional responses resulting in maladaptive behavior stemming from a negative feedback loop. Remember, it is not a matter of silencing our mind, but rather being able to bring to your awareness the portion of the I, the me, or we that makes you the dominant portion of your current thought process. In turn, taking a moment to adjust those thoughts to reflect who you are compared to who you want to be. Creating tailored or fitting responses that match your ideal identity, creating positive feedback loops. Because these thoughts have ultimately produced some form of action that has been subjected by your will, which according to your increased self-awareness can be adjusted. Thus, the willful portion of yourself can be constructed or deconstructed, thus creating your desired identity. Focus moment. So again, when you ask yourself, who are we? Try answering by saying, we are consciousness. And when a portion of you is disturbed, ask, why am I disturbed? And how does it make me feel? Do this in remembering that you shouldn't immediately respond, and you will find that in many instances you won't need to respond because you'll be able to identify what mental chatter is being exposed to your conscious awareness. Engaging in this mental practice and soliciting your own conscious awareness by digging deep will assist us in avoiding the many mental traps that our hormones spring upon us in having been fooled into believing that because there is an emotional response, there should also be a corresponding physical action. You will then be able to make greater strides toward mental control and mastery and integrate your internal awareness into your conscious awareness, creating your reality from a more divine and positive mental picture, having your physical reality reflect that which you mentally envision. See how cool you've always been? See how cool you've always been? You've been creating your internal world all this time. You simply lack the awareness of it. We all have come from different religious and spiritual traditions. We have been taught to worship different images, likeness, ideals, perspective, dogmas, etc. The student and disciple in us searches from book to book, teacher to teacher, school to school, lesson to lesson, never realizing that it is neither book, teacher, nor institution, nor manner of instruction, but experience by which self-awareness is revealed. There is nowhere we can go in which the Creator is not with us and present, and unfortunately, what we are not told at the beginning of such a journey is that the process of awakening is long and difficult. We quest for a process that cannot be sped up nor slowed down by any other means than what our life allows, be we young or old soul. You are where you're supposed to be, which is why acceptance of yourself, personality, identity, and path to accomplish purposeful attainment or success is so crucial. We must let go of our dispositions and allow ourselves to see beyond our inhibitions of the past. We are not who we believed ourselves to be, but rather who we want ourselves to be. You, however, can only get there through growth, interactions, learning, application, and experience. As a newborn child can only become a year old in a year's time. You must allow the process to unfold. See ourselves as part of the greater whole, and as you look within and across, you will see how humanity is all structured comparatively. We, however, will actualize on different levels of conscious awareness. Our battle is not with others. It is with ourselves when we compete with a personality we continue to deny because we are led to believe in an external end or superficial recognition. Here is why digging deep and truly seeing yourself is so important. Why wait for someone else to see you when you look into your own eyes daily? Find yourself, for the tree of life is within, holistically balancing your endocrine, their corresponding energy centers or chakras, hormone production, your emotional responses to life circumstances, and planning for your success while teaching others to do the same are the greatest contributions anyone can make to humanity. This is what has been at the heart of every religion and spiritual and even medical tradition since the dawn of humanity's mental ability. Identifying and controlling an animalistic nature within a divinely interconnected being, one who too often feels detached and disengaged from an ever-continuous source to the point that definition outside of ourselves through persons, places, and things is sought, because we are taught to believe that the vastness of the universe is so unimaginable that awareness would equally be unknown should not be the greatest secret never told. Thus, if we have ever wrestled with faith in our Creator, then truly we are wrestling with faith in ourselves. Whether you agree or disagree with this idea, you can surely agree the question alone moves one closer to dig deep. Lastly, presenting the idea of the Creator within, the concepts of a creator, the creator, or creationism may cause a stir to the reader or listener because of the relationship it holds with the language of faith. As having previously been invoked by the fear of religious bombardment and removing it from my endocrine and hormonal responses, the process of digging deep helps reassociate religion as a catalyst of hate, destruction, indifference, and bloodshed with being a foundation for all members of humanity to find morality, commonality, unity, and peace, and even parallel with the scientific community. Thus, from the position of neutrality, we may be able to approach faith from this perspective by simply saying that the absence of faith can be detrimental because faith, when applied purposefully, motivates and encourages one to persistently persevere. We thus create the habit of being able to process grief, loss, mental, and emotional pain and still find success within our journey, by which we are then able to find deep meaning in our experiences with our collective human condition and teach such a profound habit to others, we thereby contribute to the improvement of the conditions of the world. Thus, if one does not have faith in any religion, institution, book, or concept, learning to dig deep teaches one at a minimum to cultivate faith in oneself most importantly, because giving up should never be an option.